Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Britton's Social Club. This is the show where we hang out after a long week in the work world, whatever you want to call it. Hope everyone is doing well this fine afternoon, day, evening, wherever you guys are at. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. Let me just move all my stuff here. Oh, I got some notifications on Twitter. Let's see what that is real quick. Daniel Blatt followed me, so I guess he seems legit. I will follow him back. Thank you, sir. You got Miss Jerry for anyone who likes that, likes cants. Hello, Demidrek, Raph. How's everyone doing this fine day? I'll admit I almost was late because I was getting a little distracted by this new game I got. It's basically a game where you color, so there you go on that. But how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Originally this was not going to be having we were not going to have an episode because I was going to be on my friend Aaron Hook's channel talking about westerns, but yeah, he wasn't feeling well, so he put that to next week. So we are here like normal. What game? Oh, on my phone. It's this it's called Happy Color. It's basically like a coloring game. You can see right there. Very nice. I like those games. I just, it's a good way to pass the time. Okay. Hello, Bex, Tharnal. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing okay. I am doing good. Just taking a lazy Sunday. So, like always, what's everyone reading at the moment? I, for one, am reading still American Tabloid by one James Elroy. This book is awesome. Really enjoying it a lot. It's really quite good so far. Though it's not an easy read sometimes because it's very I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, still reading While Darkness Gathers. I should be done with it by tomorrow. Yeah, it's quite good. It's not as good as the original trilogy, but I do think it's still a good book. I highly think people should go read it. And I am also reading East of West by Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta of absolute Batman fame. This is kind of the book that made Nick Dragotta a household name, really. And also, I am reading Grant Morrison's JLA. So that's fair. I almost did. I didn't yell at someone to go away. I'm coloring, but I did almost miss the time here because I was distracted by that, and I was also watching my friend Sam's recent conversation with Tori Tekken. This is true. I'm sure you're referencing. I just actually finished year 1 where the beast gets released into the world, and you're like, oh shit, and the other horsemen are like, oh fuck. Unfortunately, not. It was just it's just a little phone game. Are there any story-driven phone games? I'm sure they exist, but I haven't played them. I just play stuff that generally when I want something more substantial, I go on my PlayStation. But anyway. But yeah, that's what I'm reading at the moment. I actually just got JLA Earth 2 from Grant Morrison yesterday at the comic book shop. Very pleased with that. So hoping to read that before the end of the month. Yay! So finishing Wolf Worm from the library, then have to get to Hell's Heart library. Just got a shitload of free comics, so I'll get the Power Fantasy. That's the Kieran Gillen. That's the new Kieran Gillen comic, isn't it? That's like his version of Watchmen, or that's what I've heard anyway. I could be wrong on that. Wolfworm. I've only read two T Kingfisher, and it's the soldier ones. The one where she retold Fall of the House of Usher, which I liked, and then I read the second one, which was fine. I didn't really like. I didn't care for it, but it was a good story. But I was just kind of like, eh. Yes, but the comp I sent you was to the Authority. Yeah, that's fair too. Even though I don't really care for the Authority. Um, though I did do my discussion on Planetary recently, so if anyone wants to watch that, I had a lot of fun making it. It's a bit of a chaotic discussion, but I had a good time. Um, with my old pal Joe Byrne and Cody Walker, who edited a book of essays about Planetary. So it's worked out well. It is also my president's birthday today, apparently. I think it is Donald Trump's birthday today. He's turning 80 years old. Um, which nice. Hello there, bibliophile Reads. How you doing? Uh, so yeah, that's a thing. Apparently, is he having the? I know he's having a WWE or not WWE. He's having a UFC match at the White House. Is he doing that this evening? Does anyone know? I don't know. Oh, it is Tim Curry's birthday, isn't it? Happy birthday, Frankenfurter. Bibliophile Read says yes, it's this evening. It was a weather warning that may still halt the UFC thing. That's a good point. I don't know. I remember hearing that. It did actually rain here last night. It was funny. I was going out to get a drink because I like to eat snacks in the middle of the night when I'm staying up, and I just heard it was pouring down. I just had to look it up, and it was just raining, and I was like, oh shit. Well, I hope not. I don't think America would stand for that. They already desecrated the Lincoln Memorial. Jesus Christ. Well, he promised peace with Iran. I think that one fell through already. Yeah, he's good old Donnie. That's all I'll say. I don't know. I mean, if you listen to Steve Donahue, we're already in a fascist dictatorship. Even though he's ranting and saying all these insane things about Trump, and he hasn't been black bagged yet, so kind of puts holes in his argument. But whatever. Don't listen to me. I don't watch the news. Hello, Mac. How you doing? And hello, Tharnal. Ida's here. A lot of people are here. Uh, is that even still going on? Like, I've totally even forgot about the world war of Ukraine. I almost said world of Ukraine. Almost forgot about the war going on over there. Cool. Anything? Okay, I'll answer that later. Well, no. Sorry, just checking in with someone I'm going to be having a podcast episode with tomorrow. Raph says, well, Steve is not in the U.S., so he can rant about the fascists there quite a bit. I thought he was in Boston. I could be wrong on that. I was talking with someone the other day because he did something on his stream where he was apologizing to someone who was commenting from Iran about, what's going on with U.S. and Iran right now. And I'm like, okay, pump the brakes. First of all, it's not like the Iranian government didn't have it coming. Even if, we are getting involved in a war I don't want to get involved with, don't do that. You look fucking stupid when you do something like that. All right? Now, one might say, Britton, that kind of sounds like you're being an asshole. And you know what? Maybe I am in a small way. I'm trying not to be, but yeah, that just kind of I was like, that's fucking stupid. No, that's why I said the government had it coming. I didn't say the civilian population. I don't really like the what's happening with the civilian population, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, birds are making nests out of. Oh well, it's like the Bible, what you intended for evil, God used for good. The government isn't the one being. I guess he meant to say bombed. Anyway, but then again, it wouldn't be a good Steve show if it didn't rub me the wrong way. I mean, he's said increasingly deranged things over the past several months, so yeah, he's an interesting guy. We'll just say. I don't understand what you mean, Thornall. Steve, I'm talking about Steve Donahue. He runs a YouTube channel over at Steve Donahue. I had him on my show a few months ago. Even though I criticize him a lot, I do respect him and his intellect, even though yeah, Steve Donahue. That's who I'm talking about. I'll put his name in the comments section. But yeah, he just kind of, I don't know. It felt performative to me. That's kind of what rubbed me the wrong way about it more than anything else because I don't know. Let's not pretend that the Iranian government was innocent in all this, you know, even if the civilians got involved, which, is not good, of course. I mean, I definitely suggest his channel. He's a fun guy to listen to, even if some of his takes are just absolutely baffling. But, well, I was about to say, well, we did that a lot. We were trying to contain, we were trying to contain communism at the time. So, what are you gonna do? That is a very iconic mission for sure. That is a very iconic mission for good reason. I don't know. I'm just kind of frustrated with the political discussion, if you will. Well, to be fair, it did collapse under its own weight, but we did sabotage socialist governments as well. I don't think those are mutually exclusive. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, story of my life, I guess. But anyway, enough of that. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, everyone's having a good time on the interwebs. Domino theory. I'll have to look that up. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. That's what that is. You know what's funny? One of my friends, his name's Steve Powell. He's the biographer of James Elroy. Actually, I just read his book. I actually had him on my channel a couple times. I had him on my podcast, and I also had him on to talk about his biography, which I'll go grab it real quick. It's called "Love Me, Fierce and Danger." I'm sure he'll appreciate me mentioning this. But he's uh um yeah, he did a video about Whitaker Chambers' book, Witness, which is a book I've wanted to read for a long time because I'm quite fascinated with the Cold War period. It's a very interesting part of our history, I think, that's often overlooked and very messy. I think there's a lot of um, you know, I don't know the term I'm looking for, but it's very much it's definitely a time where there's a lot of conflicting opinions and we can't really seem to agree on what actually happened. I find those kind of bits interesting. But he talked about it because Elroy just put out his new book called Red Sheet, which is kind of about communists infiltrating American government. So yeah. Anyway, we got someone in here now. We haven't had him on in a little bit. And that of course is Raph. How you doing, man?
Hey man, yeah, hi. I hope you can hear and see me.
I can. Or
That
you
is
just like
good.
this fucking guy has no idea what he's talking about. I'm gonna come in here and school this idiot.
No, I was just finishing up some stuff before I could actually jump in, so all good. Yeah, it's been a while because the last couple of weeks I was at like two festivals, and then I was hiking. And before that, I was
That's
hiking. So
true.
it's like I've been like, this is like the first weekend in over a month that I've actually been at home. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I know it was funny. I'm just like, damn, when's Raph coming in here? But yeah, no, it's yeah, someone was I think it was actually either Claudia or Bex, and she's like, yeah, I think Raph's at a concert, and I was like, oh, okay. But uh yes, everyone's happy Raph's here.
Yeah, hello.
Leave some books face front on your shelves for the stream. I'm sorry, okay. I have them on the. I don't know what it's shelf. It's always satisfying. Well, it's funny because Raph, you and I are going to be talking about politics and art in a few days, so it's going to be fun.
I did not check on that football game because I don't care for football. I don't believe that nation states are a good idea. So having them, do pig bladder kicking competitions doesn't sound like a really good idea. And what with, all the corruption around it and all the, well, frankly, at least proto-fascist behaviors in, say, the US right now, it's like, fuck that shit. Like Germany beating up on Curacao. What, like, yeah, come on. What a fucking waste of time and money. So no, I have no idea. Apparently, Germany won, so that's good, I guess.
U.S. smoked somebody. I forget who it was, and people were all excited about it. But I don't really care for soccer myself, so or football as they call it across the pond.
No, oh, I'm glad you got the Wilding Thornall. That's a fucking impressive book. Also, like for like under 400 pages, he manages to cram in a lot of stuff in that one.
Know what's funny? The other day, some friends of mine on a Discord server I'm a part of is talking about August Clark's book. I'm forgetting the name. It's a But you covered it. It's the one you
Oh,
covered.
Metal from Heaven.
Metal from Heaven, thank you. And they're like, "Oh yeah, this book looks really cool." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, my friend Raph liked it." And he's like, "Yeah, it kind of tracks."
Oh yeah, who said that?
Oh, I forget who it was, but it was some friends of mine. And they're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds about right."
Yeah,
Because
of
it's
course I
super
like it.
leftist. I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
It's got like lesbian biker bandits that rob trains. I mean, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, I want to read that at some point. I just just all those other damn books. But Raph, you were telling me I actually was listening to the album "I Hear a New World" because you're reading the book
Yeah,
right now, aren't you? Or have you?
I finished it.
Oh, you finished it. What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it a lot. It's I think it's a bit more. I mean, there will be a video, I guess, on Tuesday because I fucked up the recording, but I already have the thumbnail, so I'll put up the video on Tuesday. I enjoyed it. Um, at least as much as the first one. It's got interesting stuff. I think he has a bit more fun language wise, or this time
Mm.
I got more out of it. I don't know. As I said, there's a bunch of really weird Gormenghast jokes in that one.
I've only
Like,
read the first one, so we'll see if I
yeah,
get him or not.
no, it's a lot of fun. It is dedicated to Volodymyr Zelensky and all anti-fascists everywhere. That is the dedication to the book.
Thanks, more. I appreciate you.
Oh, I mean, it's also about, it's set in obviously 10 years after the first one, so in 58, 59, where you had like pretty big race riots, or, well, what you mean, like Caribbean people living in Notting Hill beating up on the remainders of the British Union of Fascists, and so forth. So there is a like racist undertone in the book, so it makes sense beyond anything else. And it's a really good book in lots of ways.
Yeah, I'll
As I said,
definitely pick it up. I definitely read anything more does.
yeah, so the album "I Hear a New World" and the guy, the producer, Joe Meek, is a character. Joe Meek is a character
Oh, really?
in the novel. Yeah, he's a character in the novel, and when he one of the it's an Easter egg because how many people actually know of this album? It's still very much like a weird
Yeah, it seems
underground
like one of those
psychedelic.
weird, obscure type of things that more would be like, "Oh, this is pretty."
It's considered like one of the, if not the first psychedelic rock album in a lot of ways. So
Oh
and,
my
and
god.
so one of the conceits is that Joe Meek is pulled into like the other London and sort of where he gets the inspirations for this album from. That's part of it, and lots of drugs, of course. But
It's always drugs. Well,
but
maybe not always, but
well, I mean, with psychedelic rock producers in the 1960s, it is drugs. you know.
yeah, it's funny. I read an interview once where he was saying like he liked Pink Floyd when like Sid Barrett was with them because that was when they were like super weird and out there. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is just maybe this is a contrarian opinion, but I always thought they got more interesting after he had his breakdown and left.
I mean, it kind of depends. I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan
I
in
mean, they're my
general.
favorite band, so
Yeah, they somehow never worked really for me. But I mean, there's a lot of really weird psychedelic rock stuff happening in Britain in the '60s and like into the '70s. Some really out there shit, like the whole like Canterbury scene. There's some crazy stuff going on there.
yeah. I
Ooh,
mean,
Meg
I like.
Scarfield reading A Canticle for Leibowitz. That's a fucking amazing book. I love that. I've read it like 2 or 3 times now, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Wait, what is? Oh, it's the Ian McDonald book. Okay, all
The
right.
Wilding is the Ian McDonald one, yeah.
Yeah, I still need to read him because like you've been kind of doing the thing. What's the term I'm looking for? I'm blanking on it. you've been advocating for him for a long time. I'm like, damn, I gotta read this dude because Raph keeps talking about him. I just haven't done it yet. I do have The Light Brigade. I do hope to read that sometime soon. Because I'm reading a lot of science fiction this year. I'm doing a really terrible job at it, but you know.
I mean, the Light Brigade is a lot of fun. You have read Starship Troopers, I think, right?
Yes, I have. What was that? But yes, I have read Starship Troopers a long time ago when I was like 14, and I've seen the movie, so which is very interesting.
Oh, you
Misunderstood
started
book, I
you
think.
started the Wilding, Chad. Yeah, that's amazing. How do you what do you think of it so far?
Yeah, maybe I can sneak I Hear a New World. I was rather meh on The Great Win. I mean, it was fun, but it was just kind of like okay, but maybe I Hear a New World is good as well. We'll see.
No, I mean, if you don't like the whole topic, for me personally, I really enjoyed this one. I felt like he's playing around a lot more with language. There's so
Mm.
many fucking alliterations and weird descriptions and stuff. Right at the beginning, there's a scene like it starts out as a sex scene, and he's like, "Well, they descended onto the couch like the last journey of the Hindenburg." And I was like, did you just make a fucking airship fire joke about sex? I'm like, yeah,
Awesome.
I guess he did. So
Uh,
you see that I was having a lot of fun with this one, and yes, he did. He does a Gormenghast sex joke in it as well.
yeah, what's funny? What's funny about that? I saw this movie called Disclosure Day on Friday with my dad, and yeah, it wasn't good. Honestly, it was really dumb. On it, it felt like a dumber version of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. To be honest with you, so I posted on Twitter about how much I was let down, and it kind of blew up by my by my server stand by my Twitter account standards. So that was pretty fun.
Okay, okay. No, I spent the last week. Yes, I read The Wilding by Ian McDonald, which was fucking amazing. I just finished What White People Can Do Next by what's her name, Emma DeBerry, however to pronounce it. Anyway, before that I read The Overseer Class by Stephen Thrasher. That was really good. And yeah, obviously I Hear a New World, the Alan Moore one. And I think as next book I have Here Where We Live Is Our Country by Molly Crabapple. I've wanted to read that for a couple of weeks now, and it's going to be the next one. And after that, I probably have to figure out what my offline book club decides to vote to read next. It might be Snow Queen by Joanne Vingy, which I'm really looking forward to because I've wanted to read that one for years. Or The Republic of Memory by Mahmoud El Sayed, which which was my pick, and we'll see. Maybe it'll be that one. That one I'm also very curious about. And yes, Mac, I Hear a New World is the second book in the Long London Quintet, so the sequel to The Great When, and it's has the same characters and just follows the same people, just like a decade later, and nothing has really changed except it's not the 50s or the late 50s, and everyone is concerned with upcoming nuclear war.
That's always something to be concerned about. And
I mean, that's one of the things I find interesting with this specific project of Alan Moore's, right? Because I feel like we often sort of like ignore sort of like the first post-war decade in a sense, right? Like you have these ideas of like of history that feel important, but like who really talks about the 1950s? I mean, especially in like in a British context, right? Obviously, in the US, you have the whole McCarthy bullshit going on, um, and like those elements. But like beyond that, like who really talks about the nine? Do you know what happened in the 1950s in Britain? Because I suspect most British people don't know what happened in the 1950s in Britain.
I know that Churchill said there's going to be an Iron Curtain, and that's about it. So that's about it, honestly.
Well, that was still in the 40s.
Oh, that was? Oh, well, okay, then I'm fucked. I don't know.
In the 1950s, Churchill is long out of office, right?
I
That's
think he
like
died at that point. He's dying.
which is good. He deserved to.
Okay, anyway. Moving on from that.
Well, I mean, he was old at that point.
Yes, he was. That's what I was trying to get at. Made it sound like he got mugged.
Well, McScarfield, I know he does that a lot, but it felt more excessive in this one, or more playful. I don't know. It almost reached like Terry Pratchett levels of wordplay from time to time, which is fine by me. So
when did Winston Churchill die? It was in the 50s, wasn't it? Oh, it was 1965. What am I doing? I'm losing my freaking mind. He was 90 years old. I don't know. I don't know. He was definitely old. You were right on that, Raph. No, but
see, okay. So 1952 was reelected, but in 1958, it's one of a Labor guy's prime minister at the time. And that's like, the whole like Suez crises. And that's like the interesting backdrop, because it's sort of like this era where more and more parts of the British Empire leave the empire. And there's, the British Empire is slowly collapsing. And it sort of like happens in the background. It's like when it's in like one passing sentence, like, yeah, and Britain finally acknowledged the Castro government in Cuba. And I'm like, okay. Which is just like interesting to see how sort of like how much politics actually, like global politics, happened around that time that we kind of ignore, especially if you're not British. Like when did Trinidad and Tobago and so forth, when did those countries sort of like become independent countries within the Commonwealth and stop being colonies and all that kind of stuff? I don't know. And the whole like scandal about like the massacre in like internment camps in Kenya, and it's more stories like, well, most British people were surprised that there were internment camps in Kenya because they didn't know at the time. I'm like, yeah, well, it's it's one of those colonialism things.
Honestly, I will refrain from saying anything about the Critical Drinker because I don't really like the Critical Drinker. So I'll just leave it there. But yeah, if even he says it's shit, I guess that's nice. At least he has bare minimum of critical ability.
All right, 15%. So this is still like the setup of like everything, and you get like the very poetic descriptions of the landscape in the beginning, and then you meet the farmer and his dead cow. I assume that's around 15%, I think, roughly. But yeah, it's going to get scary, or at least a bit more violent.
Yeah, it sounded kind of like a Stephen King type of setup from what I read of the which might irritate you.
It's more Blair Witch than Stephen King, I would argue.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I mean, just the setup, a bunch of kids, and it's like a weird thing. I don't know. I'll put it this way: I think Critical Drinker is super disingenuous as a critic, and I'll just leave it at that. Again, I don't really want to go into that rabbit hole today. I'm trying to keep this I'm trying to keep this somewhat chill. Now, rather I'll succeed. We'll see. When Raph's here, that's always left up in the air.
Yeah, well, I mean, but like so I don't think it's not as much Stephen King. It's way more this sort of like more modern sort of like survival horrors, like a bunch of teenagers going camping in the forest, and then the forest becomes strange.
That's always a good setup, you know. Stuff
Yeah,
being weird in the woods.
yeah.
That's
I
true.
agree with you,
Raph, didn't
Orly.
you make a video about why most people suck at being critics?
I did not exactly say that most people suck at being critics. I said that like what people do on YouTube is not what you might call criticism. It's something else. And I would stand like without saying anything about like critical drinkers, politics, or anything of the sorts. I would argue critical drinker is a shit critic because he doesn't actually know much about actual, cinema or anything of the sorts. He has a very specific personal taste and is good at marketing his taste on camera. And if you agree or disagree with him, comes down to whether you like the same shit that he likes or whether you don't like that stuff. And there is no sort of like there's no depth to his takes because it's not like he went to film school and actually studied like any of that stuff. He doesn't know how to do criticism.
Oh yes, and the Knicks won the basketball championship, which again I don't really care about, but I do feel bad for John Minton because I know he's a big fan of the Spurs. So there you go.
Yeah, it's the Macmillan prime ministership in the background of the of I Hear a New World, which once again it
I
only
don't know
comes up in
why
sort of like people reading the newspapers and then Macmillan said that's this or that
I
and
just
stuff like that.
don't recommend posts from this channel. Thank you. I don't know why the algorithm keeps recommending me stuff from Damian Walter because I unsubscribed from him recently because I just got fed up with him. Because he's a massive asshole, honestly. But it is what it is. I'm doing a really bad job of being chill today. I'm just being salty Britton here today.
Thornall, there is no explicit Morrigan in the book in the Wilding. I think the name comes up once or twice, but it goes beyond that. It goes more into like cosmic horror at that point. It has folk horror elements, but it doesn't go like, oh, and here's some Gaelic deities doing weird shit. It goes beyond that. But it also has people fighting monsters with tractors, so there's also that.
A good idea, Ori. Do not go into the forest. Oh yeah, I did finish the Odyssey, my reread of the Odyssey, and let me tell you, it still holds up. Probably not surprising to any of you, but still a great story.
Well,
yeah, I just said stop recommending me stuff from this channel, and hopefully that'll do the trick. But yeah, no. Damian Walter, smart critic, really massive jerk though. Don't like the guy. So there you go. I also don't politically agree with him, but that's kind of inconsequential at this point.
yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, Moorcock also is at least mentioned a couple of times in the Long London books by
Yeah, he
Alan
dedicated
Moore.
the Great Win to him and
Yeah,
Ian
yeah,
Sinclair, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, I read the Fagles edition. I'll just pull it out, which I quite like. I did not know that Lawrence of Arabia did a translation of the Odyssey. That was interesting to learn. But yeah, really, really cool. Also, some fun references in here for anyone who is into the first law, because well, for one, the title of the first book is taken not from this translation specifically, but it is taken from this from the Odyssey, and there's also references to the Great Leveler. So there's that too. But going back to the Odyssey, It's great stuff.
It's a solid story. I've read better.
Rat's like, I read the Metamorphoses, and that was a great.
Well, I did.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry.
It's like, I read the Aeneid, bitch, you know? I'm like,
And I read the Aeneid.
oh my god. I still need to read those.
And the Works and Days. And some other stuff from that time. I always recommend, if you want to read an antique classic, I always recommend the Satyricon because, it's the fun one. It's from like from the reign of Nero, and it's about a teacher and his student, and one of them is cursed by the god Priapus, so he can't get an erection, so they go on a quest to fix that one. Which, serious problems require serious solutions.
Oh no.
No, Moore's. I feel like Moore and Moorcock are often, aligned politically in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, they're both anarchists, so I guess that. Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, Moore's my favorite comic writer, so I'm definitely gonna read anything he touches. I'm actually looking at my books from him. I have Illuminations, Jerusalem, and The Great Win. I haven't read Jerusalem yet. I've not dared touch Jerusalem yet. Maybe someday I will.
I am definitely interested in trying Jerusalem. Apparently, Ori let me know a couple of hours ago that Illuminations is currently on sale on Libro.
I think either 6 or 7. John, I'm actually gonna be. I did get a professional guide to it, so I'm gonna be paying him first half anyway tomorrow. But anyway, well, that was what made me think of Disclosure Decks. I'm like, well, if you want something kind of better than that, I'd recommend just reading Discovery, because it just kind of does that idea a lot better.
Thor, no, that one is really, really fucking good.
I do not get it. I guess I'm a very thick man at this point.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about that bumper book of magic.
That's like it's one of those things like Jerusalem he worked on for like 10 years and he finally put it out like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's about like a cult history, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of like an introduction to becoming an occultist, but I think it's more like aimed at kids. But I'm not quite sure because I think it doesn't exist in audio because I think the illustrations are really important there, so they didn't even bother. So I can't tell you much about the actual contents, but I've heard that it's really good by people who really loved it.
Oh. Huh. All right. Admittedly, I don't speak the Black Tongue. That's what it's called in Lord of the Rings, isn't it? I could be wrong.
Yes, it is called
or is it the Black Speech?
Depending on who says something, I think Gandalf calls it the Black Tongue, and others call it the Black Speech.
Well, I didn't want to get mixed up with The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman, which I was not very impressed with. But a lot of people on BookTube seem to like it, and I don't want to yuck on people's yum. Like, if you love that book, that's great. I just was not in it. I don't know.
Which book?
The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I haven't read it.
It's kind of like Foffer and the Grey Mouser, but it's really bad. So yeah. It's kind of like if Joe Abercrombie did like a bad riff on Foffer and the Grey Mouser. It's kind of how I describe it. Maybe it was expectations because I was kind of hoping it would be like this Foffer and the Grey Mouser thing, and it wasn't. I was kind of like, well, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because hey, there are worse people to rip off than Fritz Leiber.
Yeah, that's true. But speaking of the Lord of the Rings stuff, I apparently the Pope did in fact quote Gandalf in his new encyclica on artificial intelligence, which I found interesting.
Was it about being tough on crime?
No, it's more about how a big text kind of sucks. So I appreciate the Pope quoting Lord of the Rings at Peter Thiel. I think that is always a good thing to do.
Nah.
Because if you can out nerd Peter Thiel, then that I think hurts him more than anything else you can do. It's like, hey, look, I too have read Lord of the Rings and I've understood it, unlike you. But he's still just the Pope. So what does he know? I have not read that one, Max Garfield. I'm aware of it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, he's odd. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Where?
Anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that I've spoken about this so many times.
I'm too focused on Yankee Land. If you didn't gather.
Yeah, no, but I feel it's really helpful to read Jordan Carroll's speculative whiteness, because he goes into how he talks specifically about the alt-right, but alt-right adjacent people, how they actively misread fantasy and science fiction texts a lot. When you look at how people like Elon Musk or Peter Thiel read Lord of the Rings or read Ian fucking M. Banks, right? And come up with the weirdest readings. You can see how that works, and you can apply that to how people like Peter Thiel and fucking J.D. Vance read the Bible and totally misunderstand those texts as well. There is something important and interesting in that concept that Carroll brings up there, I think. And yeah, it's also open access, so I highly recommend reading that. And it's relatively short. And you'll learn all about how Richard Spencer is a huge fan of Dune and doesn't get it.
There's so many people who don't get things. I saw Mike's book reviews was talking about banned books today.
Who did that?
Mike's book reviews. He was talking about banned books today. I haven't read it or I haven't watched it yet, but maybe someday. I don't really watch his channel though. I don't.
No, me neither. I've unsubscribed. If I ever was subscribed, and he sometimes shows up in my recommendations, but usually he doesn't. But then YouTube sometimes really loves to trigger me. Yesterday for like hours. No. Like seriously, yesterday for several hours, like every time I went on YouTube, in my recommendations, relatively high up, there was a video how to trim the state from the Ludwig von Mises Institute Netherlands.
Oh boy.
That had 10 fucking views. 10 views. So why is this showing up for me again and again and again?
I think the algorithm's just trying to troll you, Raph.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, YouTube loves to trigger me.
That's great. I love that. I mean, that's just funny. No, I mean,
the thing is with Teal and JD Vance is that they actively. I mean, Teal, I think, originally comes from like an evangelical background, but he has drifted towards Catholicism. And what's so ridiculous with those kind of people is that, like, JD Vance as a Catholic convert, and like they try to argue Catholic, specifically Catholic theology with the Pope, which is like the dumbest thing imaginable. But it kind of comes from that tech bro mindset of like, just because you have made billions by cleverly investing all the riches that your parents gave you, or that in JD Vance's case that Peter Thiel gave you, you are clearly a superior intellect and thus are able to talk about everything with fundamental knowledge. So obviously you can out Catholic the Pope, which is not how Catholicism works, or at least not how popes work.
Well, reminders of what I'm reading. I am still reading American Tabloid by James Elroy. A lot of fun. Really dark though. Reading Philip Chase's While Darkness Gathers. I should be done with that by tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And East to West by one Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta. And of course, JLA from Graham Morrison, as the Morrison-a-thon must go on. So yeah, I'm not Catholic, so I don't really like our president all that much. Hopefully, he doesn't black bag me, but I haven't been black bagged yet after talking shit about Trump, so I think I'm good to go.
Yeah, I think you're too small a fish to actually get into like trouble there. But anyway, you are still a Catholic. I mean, there's still the whole like give Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give God what belongs to God. So you can be more loyal to your president than to the Pope. In questions of theology, however, you should probably at least not not try to out argue the Pope. Because that's not how papacies work.
While Darkness Gathers is a indie book, John. And Aslan says favorite read of the year so far, Gloriana by Michael Moorcock. That book is fucking outstanding. I really do think so. I think it. I can't praise that book enough. Is what I'm trying to say.
Gloriana, yeah, I've heard good things about it. I would have to think hard what was my favorite book of the year so far, because there've been a couple. Like right now, I'm obviously very, very fond of The Wilding by Ian McDonald, but there was like other stuff that I really appreciated when it came out. Obviously, The Incredible We Dance Upon Demons by Vaishnavi Patel was really fucking good. There were more. I need to scroll. I need to think about all the fiction that I've read this year, because I've read like a fuck ton of nonfiction as well, which kind of blurs together. While the Axe is Buried is kind of okay, Where the Axe is Buried was kind of okay, but I think it kind of suffered from a couple of issues, but it was fun to read. But yeah, right now, The Wilding by Ian McDonald and definitely We Dance Upon Demons if we're talking about 2026 publications.
I am, Mac. I've been sending you messages about it. It was funny because there was one of the characters who drops the C word, and I'm like, damn, Phil dropped the fucking C word, guys. So that was I haven't been reading a lot of nonfiction, though I am hoping to read Astounding from Alec Nevada Lee, I think is how you pronounce his name. I probably butchered it. I'm really sorry. But it's the science fiction book It's not a science fiction book. It's the book about these science fiction writers,
Yeah.
such oddballs like Robert Heinlein and L. Ron Hubbard.
It's a really good book. I really, really enjoyed that one. But I read it like last autumn. So best nonfiction this year. Bunch of them.
Well, I did like Love Me, Fierce and Danger. That was a good book. So I have read a nonfiction.
Well, I mean,
I'm really bad at keeping up with. I'm not like Raph, who's like, I'm reading this book about this weird thing that happened in the 1600s, you know, and Mary Shelley's dad might have been involved. You know, I'm like, I don't.
That was in the 1800s. Mary Shelley's dad was evolved. Was in the 18th century and early 19th century.
It was like I think it was called Blood in the Machine.
Blood in the Machine is by Brian Merchant. It's an excellent book. I just didn't read it this year, but I highly recommend it to anyone. Blood in the Machine is a history of the Luddite uprising, and beside Mary Shelley's dad being somewhat involved, Mary Shelley being very explicitly involved. Percy Bysshe Shelley obviously being involved, Lord Byron being involved, the father of the Bronte sisters being involved.
A lot of people involved in this.
that's kind of the point.
A lot of infamous people involved in this.
I mean, the Luddite uprisings in the late 18th and especially like 1812-ish led to a larger British army being sent to Nottinghamshire that then was fighting against Napoleon on the continent. That's how the free market and industrial capitalism were established, not by superiority of the better system, but because the British government sent like an entire fucking army to Nottinghamshire and Yorkshire and hanged people that were against the new factory system. So yeah, it's a really important book to read, and you'll learn a lot of cool things. You learn a lot of weird things, and what Merchant does is
yeah, you definitely got me interested in that book. I just haven't read it yet because
it's really good.
I'm really bad at keeping up with nonfiction. Yeah.
I did enjoy appreciate the Overseer class by Stephen Thrasher that I just read last week about marginalized people that are put into positions of power that use that power explicitly to crack down on people of their own sort of like marginalized community. The Overseer class. Very angry book. I can say that.
I did consider getting Wizardry and Wild Romance by Michael Moorcock, but it's like $70-something on Amazon. I'm like, I ain't fucking doing that. I'm sorry.
That's a lot.
That's a fuck ton of money for one book. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, I have a bunch of nonfiction books that I need to get. Like the new Cormac McCarthy biography's coming out. So I was wanting to read that because I love Cormac McCarthy and I would be remiss not to get the biography, There you go.
If Fall of Hyperion was your favorite book this year, Chadia, I'm really, really sorry because your reading must have been really bad so far. The second book of The Expanse, that's that's the one where Bobby shows up for the first time, right? I keep forgetting what they call. I mean, the first one is obviously Leviathan Wakes, and then the second one I keep forgetting what it's called, and I don't know.
Oh yeah, he also told me about American Zion because I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Let me see. Yeah, I have a bunch of nonfiction books I need to read before. Oh my god. It's too much. It's too much, guys. But yeah, so I got a lot. I'm really bad at my main point before I brought up the Blood in the Machine was I'm really bad at keeping up with nonfiction. I'm not like Ramp, who's up to date on this stuff. I don't know if maybe up to date's the wrong term, but he's more informed than I am on nonfiction.
But that's like Leviathan wakes in the middle of the night, and then Leviathan pees, and then Leviathan checks the phone.
That's good. I like that.
That reminds me, I still need to read that second book from their new series, the Captives War series. And the second one is called The Faith of Beasts, I think. But I wasn't too impressed by the first one, so I don't know if it's not a pressing concern.
I wasn't that impressed with the original Hyperion, and my friend Jason's like, "Oh, you should read the second one 'cause it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger." And I'm like, "I know, but I wasn't really all that impressed with Hyperion to begin with, so we'll see." I still want to try some of his other books, like The Terror, for instance. I would like to try that at some point.
Aslan, the Fall of Hyperion is still among the better Dan Simmons books. I think I don't think it's quality-wise worse than Hyperion. I think what happens in a lot of cases is that people who read Hyperion then go like, "Fall of Hyperion sucks," because Hyperion has that sort of like pretentious structure of all these individual sort of like novellas, tales tied together. That Canterbury Tale ripoff thing that everyone believes makes Dan Simmons really smart. And Fall of Hyperion is told in a much more conventional style, where you have like two plot lines with perspectives jumping between those most of the time. I think it's broadly two plot lines, basically. So it feels much more conventional and is different in structure from the first one, so people feel that it's a letdown. But I don't think it's quality. In quality, it's not worse. I think it shows some of the obnoxious tendencies of Dan Simmons' reactionary tendencies. That stuff comes out a bit more, but it is still not as bad as anything that comes afterwards. So,
Yeah, I would like to try The Terror at some point, and that one could be of interest. But yeah, I'm just not. Maybe Raph's reviews kind of analysis kind of turned me off from it, but I just wasn't that impressed with Hyperion. Well, there's some great moments in Hyperion, but I didn't really think it was that cohesive as a whole.
No. You are not pretentious unless you think that reading Hyperion makes you smart. That's the trick with this, right? Like, Hyperion is not a bad book. It's just not an extraordinary, deep, meaningful book in the way that a lot of people who read sci-fi often hold it up as one of the best sci-fi books and one of the most literary sci-fi books. And I'm like, no, that's just not what it is, because it mostly just like pulls up some easy references to texts that are everywhere, accepted as literary classics. So it's stolen valor for literature, basically. It's like, oh, look, he's so smart. He mentions Shakespeare. Oh, he's so smart. He copies the Canterbury Tales. Oh, he's so smart. There's a bunch of John Keats in there. And I'm like, yeah, but John Keats is not exactly a deep cut. The Canterbury Tales are not exactly a deep cut, right? Like, they're all sort of like popular enough that like everyone gets them, the references, and then everyone feels smart because, look, it's not just rocket ships, it's also a John Keats reference. And that's kind of the problem with Dan Simmons, that he basically builds up the semblance or the illusion of literary depth by just holding up the most well-known sort of like symbols of that. And that's fine. Like, he, at least in those early books, he's still a very talented writer, like language-wise and everything. He's not bad at this job back then. Like, it gets much worse with later books where his writing actually suffers a lot. But like, it's not extraordinary. Like, if you want to read someone who really knows how to write really meaningful, interesting, and deep science fiction, you can always read Ian M. Banks. You can always read Ian MacDonald. And you can always read, I guess, other authors that are called Ian. I don't know. But there's really interesting stuff happening in literary science fiction at the same time that is much more,
I also think there are more
unique and
interesting
inventive.
science fiction writers than
Yeah.
Dan Simmons anyway, like Bradbury and Philip K. Dick and Arthur C. Clarke and Jeff Vandermeer. So
Well, Jeff
there's
Vandermeer
that.
wasn't writing back then.
Well, he wasn't, but I like him. And not enough people talk about him. So I'm like, read Vandermeer. There was some interesting stuff in it. Like, I really liked his exploration of how like publishing kind of changed with the future. Also, it was fun reference to The Dying Earth from Jack Vance. I thought was fun.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like it. Didn't blow me away like it did for a lot of people. Also, hello.
Speaking. Hi, Liam. By the way, speaking of Ian Fleming, one of the ongoing running gags, so to speak, things in the new Alan Moore book is that the main character Dennis Knuckleyard is trying to get through Casino Royale and getting more and more annoyed with it. Which tells you a lot about what Alan Moore thinks about Ian Fleming.
Oh yeah, if you've read League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, you'll know he has a real bone to pick with James Bond.
Yeah, I can tell. I've not read League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but I can tell. I have never read any Islington, however you pronounce him. I still have to read Bourne, but I really enjoyed Finch.
Great book, by the way. Bourne. It's great. It's better than fucking Hyperion. What are you doing? Anyway, sorry. Not to yuck on your yum. If you like Hyperion, it's great. But it's like over Bourne? I don't know. Then again, what do I know? I've kind of accepted my outsider status on BookTube at this point.
Well, see, that's why I always say that BookTube doesn't exist, because there is no such thing where you have unless you are, fucking what's his face, the over 1 million type of book subscriber type of booktubers. There is no such thing as BookTube.
I have not read that one, so I guess I'll just shut up until I read it. But Bourne is a great book, though. So it's actually my favorite of his books, even over Southern Reach. Okay. I think so. I think Southern Reach is great, but yeah, I think Bourne is just on another level.
Have you read Finch?
I have not. I want to, though.
It's really good. It's like it's basically Nazi-occupied Paris, but the Nazis are mushrooms.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like Mushroom Blues. I actually think Adrian Gibson was inspired by Finch, so that wouldn't be surprising to me. I think you would like Mushroom Blues, Raph.
I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it.
I know you don't. I know you don't read a lot of indie books because, well, to be fair, a lot of them don't have audiobooks. So
Mushroom Blues does have an audiobook. I already checked.
Well, okay, I know Mushroom Blues does, but I have read Strange Bird. I have not read Dead Astronauts though, because I'm kind of nervous. It's a bit incomprehensible. I looked at a part of Dead Astronauts. I was like, what the fuck? But I have read Strange Bird, and yeah, I see why he took that part out of Bourne, because it is kind of its own kind of thing. I am hoping to read Nova Swing by M. John Harrison soon, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, there is no twist. It's just that they are, it's a fantasy city. It just feels like Nazi-occupied Paris. Also, the main character, Finch, is, of course, working as a collaborator for the police.
Chadia says it definitely is Britton DNF Astronauts, because what the fuck is that? Okay. Yeah, Dead Astronaut seemed a bit more experimental than say Born, which I actually think is like one of Vandermeer's most accessible books.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah, my friend Jason and I are always button heads on this because I'm a big fan of. Well, we both love the Southern Reach trilogy, but I just think Born is just like I just like it a lot more. And he's just like, but he make you feel bad for this like squid thing, and I'm like, but it's a metaphor about motherhood and letting go and all that. And he's like, whatever, So there you go. It's very playful butting heads, but we butt heads over it from time to time. I have wanted to read the Ambergris books from
Ambergris, yeah. Finch is
uh,
part of the Ambergris
but I am
series.
kind of nervous it's going to be like Diet Basleg because like Basleg had such an effect on me. I'm kind of nervous that it'll, you know.
Nah, it's different.
Well, what I was trying to explain to him is I was trying to explain it's like a kid. It's not like the fact that it's a squid thing is what's the term I'm looking for is that's a non-issue is what I'm trying to say. Like the fact he was all caught up on that, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like it has to be human for you to like it. Like what is wrong with you? I mean, not that's his taste, that's fine, but like that just feels kind of shallow to me. What I guess I was trying to get to him.
Hmm.
So like it has to be humanoid so you can empathize with it. Like that's kind of shallow, I think anyway.
Yeah. No, I still have to read Born. Like, so many books, so little time.
Oh, it always is. It always is.
Speaking of little time, I think I'm gonna bow out in a bit, and because I got stuff to do tomorrow.
All right. I mean, I have. I mean, I have till around 6. I'm probably going to be ending it before then, but I do have a podcast at 6. I'm going to be doing so. I'm going to be talking to Christopher Michael this evening, who's an indie author.
Okay.
But yeah, should be fun. But
Okay. I don't know what time 6 is for you because
that's
here.
about 2 hours from now.
No. Here it's 10:45.
I haven't read Len Dayton. I know Aaron quite. He actually passed away this year, didn't he, Matt?
I have not read that one, Max Garfield. No. I'm not that big on. I'm not that
Not in the
well
spy
read
novel.
in alternate history stuff. I'm not too deeply into that field.
Oh. Well, we did talk about a Yiddish policeman's union a few years ago, or or not a few years ago. It was last year.
I'm not saying I'm not against it. I'm just like not well read in that field. That's more like my point. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I read a bunch of like Tim Powers, which is not fully alternate history, but certainly sort of like weird history.
Yeah, Tim Powers is kind of blowing up on BookTube recently, which is kind of I always kind of thought of him as sort of. I mean, nothing wrong with being pulpy, but I always kind of thought of him as like one of those guys, kind of like I don't know, who just goes like, oh, what if a historical event had spiders in it, or had vampires in it? And I'm just like, okay, and hopefully my
Yeah,
friend
secret history, that makes sense.
Sam doesn't show up. He would just start ripping into me for thanks
Yes,
to.
he's the Anubis Gates guy and the Declare guy and the On Stranger Tides guy and the Stress of Her Regards guy, which is probably the one that Thornall has read, if he has read any Tim Powers, because that's the one with vampires.
Yeah, I'm just not really into the whole. Well, actually, that's not true. I'm reading American Tabloid right now, which is kind of that secret history type of thing, but it's it's a crime novel. But yeah, I don't know, just the whole, oh, what if Mary Shelley met a vampire? I just find that kind of hokey personally.
Oh, I have The Mills of the Gods. I haven't started yet. That's his new one from earlier this year. Did you like it?
Though, hey, I'd love to be wrong, and he's not a hokey writer, but he just kind of seems hokey to me from the sounds of it.
He's not a hokey writer. I think what's interesting with Tim Powers, and I think you might, in fact, really enjoy Declare, Britton. That's his. It's like a Cold War spy thriller kind of thing around the Cambridge Five, like Kim Philby and Guy Burgess and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And their like Philby's defection to Russia, to the Soviet Union. Mostly set around Mount Ararat, which and Noah's Ark, which is maybe where Jinn live. There's also plenty of the other type of Jinn, because it's like 1940s and 1950s British spies, and it's really well done. And that I think is sort of like the main thing that makes Tim Powers interesting, is that he switches style a lot, in like depending on what kind of story he tells. So Declare is written like a spy, like a Cold War spy story, and when you
I'll
read
have to
something,
read it then. I think I
oh
saw
yeah,
Dave Butler actually talking about Declare recently on his YouTube channel. So maybe I'll put Declare on and see if that might be my one Tim Powers I read, to see if it connects with me or not.
yeah, it's Lord Byron, Percy, and Mary Shelley, and vampires and stuff. I didn't like that. I mean, I liked it. I think like the weakest from my perspective is On Stranger Tides, which has very little to do with the Disney movie, but they basically licensed it so they could use the title and then made an entire different story around it. But the Fountain of Youth still plays a role, but that's it.
Yeah, I did know it was the Pirates of the Caribbean, the fourth one, that was kind of inspired by Tim Powers. He knew Philip K. Dick, didn't he? Tim Powers. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I find that interesting because, well, Philip K. Dick was an interesting guy, as they say.
So I've heard. So I've heard.
Yeah, I find that hokey too. If any, I don't know if any of you have read like what is it? I think it's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, where I'm just like, what? Why are you doing that? That would be fun to read a book about if Islam became the dominant culture. I mean, admittedly, I'm with Raph. I'm not very well read on alternate history either, but
I still have the Years of Rice and Salt already in my library. I just need to get to it, but I'm very excited about that one.
yeah, I think Mac really liked that one.
I mean, it's Kip Stanley Robinson, so it can't be too bad, right?
Yeah, next month I'm going to be reading Red Mars, so I'm looking forward to that. because I'm quite fascinated with space colonization stories. So I'm down for it. It's probably why I like Moon is the Harsh Mistress so much.
Yeah, unfortunately, very few Matt Ruff novels are available in audio outside of the the one or two by now Lovecraft Country novels. There's very little of Matt Ruff's that has gotten audiobooks so far, so I've not gotten deeper into Ruff, which is a shame because I'm pretty sure I really enjoy his other stuff.
Yeah, I have Lovecraft Country. I just haven't read it yet. Well, yes, that's
fine.
why I'm only reading the one because, yeah, I don't really want to read the whole trilogy just yet. I want to give the first book a taste tester and see how it goes. But my friend Robin spoke very highly of it. He said it's more character driven than it initially gives away. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Because I'm sometimes frustrated that science fiction can't always, combine like character with concept/theme. A lot of it is mostly about the themes, which I like as someone who likes reading about themes, but
Yeah, well.
Alas. Yeah, no, I've been wary about Lovecraft Country because it's like, oh no, Lovecraft's racist. What are we gonna do about that? And I'm just like, okay.
But that's not
It's played out.
that's not the point there. That's very much not the point. It's not. It doesn't really talk about Lovecraft that much. It's more about.
Wait, have you read Lovecraft Country?
I've read Lovecraft Country and I've read the sequel, The Destroyer of Worlds.
Oh,
I even have made videos about at least the first one.
I'll have to find that.
I think it's fun. It's way more pulpy, and I think that's what Thornall meant, that like everyone is safe. Yes, because it is way more. I mean, there's a love. The first story is very much Lovecraftian, but there's also like a lot of like more like Howard and Clark Ashton Smith elements in that. So it's way more like general like homage to pulp, tied to black culture in the 1950s. I think it's pretty good. It's way less about like Lovecraft is racist. It's more like, hey, look, Jim Crow era US is really fucking racist. And,
I mean, that's not really a profound statement, but
I don't think it's supposed to be a profound statement. It's just like the backdrop for like how to,
I did watch the first episode of the show, and I was like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. Though the knowledge they had of Lovecraft's work kind of strained credulity because I don't know how many people knew about on the creation of N words back in the 50s, but I could be surprised. I'd be very surprised if anyone even knew what that was back in 1952. So maybe it exists. I mean, it existed, but I don't know if anyone knew about it like we do now, where you can just look it up on the internet and go like, "Oh wow, Lovecraft." Yeah.
What I mean,
Yeah.
Lovecraft has. My point with Lovecraft is that that people like that. Yes, he's racist, but the main thing is that a lot of the like horror that Lovecraft tries to evoke plays on races. Like you're supposed to be scared because these people are brown or black or mixed, which is sort of like his main fear, because he's like deep down in his heart he's like not only a racist but also like very much a eugenicist. And he's like, oh no, um them whites and blacks, they are actually fucking, that is evil, and that's what's supposed to make you scared. And that I think is
kind of.
and that's the problem that people.
It.
Yeah, but the thing that needs to be sort of like interrogated, because if you think that the Call of Cthulhu is scary and because of like big tentacle monster in the sea, then you're not actually getting what Lovecraft wanted to be scary. Like what Lovecraft wants to be scary is the scenes in the swamp when they have like their dark rituals and how incredibly depraved those Cthulhu cultists are. That's the thing that he wants you to be scared of. And if you think those things are scary, then yeah, the racism does work, and that's, I think, is the interesting thing with Lovecraft's racism. Like
Yeah, I mean, there are
cat name
books
isn't
like
the cat isn't the problem. The cat is,
there are books that have kind of dealt with this, like Victor Laval's novella, The Ballad of Black Tom, did a pretty good job kind of remixing the Lovecraftian,
yeah, I
one
think
of
it
his
was a pretty good.
worst stories, into something that was actually interesting. But
That is true. I mean, the other thing is that despite besides the racism, I feel that Horror at Red Hook is just not a very good story.
yeah, no,
Even
I
if,
don't think so either. I think even Lovecraft kind of was like, yeah, that story sucked ass, honestly. But then again, he didn't really like a lot of his stories from all accounts. So, I mean,
he wasn't exactly a very happy man, was he?
no. What writer is?
Good
Michael
question.
Chabon, maybe. He seems like a happy, nice guy.
At least he seems to be relatively peaceful.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really buy in the whole tortured artist thing, but I do find you have to be kind of tormented in a level in order to want to write. At least that's what I find. I could be saying, oh, maybe I do believe in that, but I think it's kind of hackneyed. But I
Yeah.
do think there is a level of torment that is necessary to be an artist.
I don't think it's torment, but like I mean, you need to find something that drives you to create art, and in a lot of cases, that is a fundamental sort of like unhappiness with the world as it is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's why I don't. I don't know what. Actually, that's kind of going into something else. But yeah, I kind of. That's why I always kind of get annoyed when people like try to ignore like thematic stuff, because like writers are trying to say something.
Yeah.
That's why the whole like I'll touch on this in our conversation on Tuesday, but it's kind of what annoys me about the whole like political thing. It's when people go like, "Oh, why are you putting politics to work?" I'm like, artists are trying to say something. What do you think art is about? They're trying to tell you something. They're trying to tell you something about the world around us. Now, whether that's strictly political, it's going to be something we'll be talking about. But it's the idea that I'm talking about good art. I haven't read Drist, but I've heard it's very like pulpy. But whatever. But what I'm trying to say is like, if you're gonna write, you're gonna have to have a bone to pick about something. I guess that's what I was trying to say. No, I'm not. I mean, there are things I am unhappy about, but I'm not unhappy as a person.
But that's what I mean. It's like Terry Pratchett doesn't seem to be like someone who was generally unhappy, but he was certainly angry at the world.
Well, yeah. You know what's funny? I was talking to this guy called Vesner Ratch. He runs a channel called Indie Fantasy Club on a few days ago, and I was kind of talking about how I was kind of comparing him and Joe Abercrombie together, and I was kind of talking about that because I actually think there are correlations there. If not, I mean, I'm not saying that Abercrombie was inspired by Pratchett. Maybe he was, but I do think they're trying to do a similar thing.
It's not good art. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are political sort of like the themes that Drizzt sort of like. There are messages in Drizzt that are definitely problematic in all kinds of ways. I mean, that's certainly something that I.
Pulpy Fantasy says something that's kind of icky by today's standards. What? Can't believe that, Raph.
Well, I mean, the Drizzt books are still being published, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot he's still alive.
we're not talking about something that was published in the 30s. We're talking about something that was published from like the late 80s until right now.
Oh well, that's well. I guess the point I'm trying to make is I feel like every piece of art is trying to say something. Now, if it's good or
Yeah.
bad, that's up to you. But it's saying something.
Yeah. I mean,
Which is
that's
why I find the whole why are politics in my books? I find that conversation rather annoying.
yeah.
But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're gonna be talking about that more in depth soon.
That is true.
You don't know what pulpy means. I just mean like something that's propulsive, like Conan or even Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser for that matter, or like The Shadow. But like fantasy wise, I mean like something like Conan or Drizzt or I think Conan's. I haven't read Drizzt, so I'm talking out the side of my mouth here. But
There's certainly a difference. Like that's the point. Is like Conan or like Robert E. Howard definitely wanted to say something, at least in his
I'm
better
not.
stories. Right? Like you read Red Nails and tell me that is not a political text.
Well, okay, I'm not. I'm my finer point is getting lost in the
I know what
ether
you mean.
here.
No, I know what you mean. But
I'm just saying, like propulsive entertainment that like has like a very like stylized, over the top kind of melodrama is what I'm trying to get at.
yeah,
And that can be done well. Like I love me some Howardian melodrama. Don't get me wrong, but it is very pulpy.
well, it was literally in a pulp magazine, right?
This is true. Or like when the Shadow's going on unhinged rants about how the criminals deserve it before capping them full and letting them fall to their deaths, stuff like that.
But I mean, that's the underlying thing. That's the thing that I think John Miebel also like brought up when he talked about like how Tolkien's concept of world building was so fundamentally radical. It's like fantasy, by virtue of allowing an author to build whatever world they want to build, they are making choices, and these choices are political. Right?
When did he say this? Because I've been kind of looking around for that thing.
It's an older quote. I can't find it right now, obviously, but I've read it in the past. I know it exists, where he talks about how Tolkien's concept of world building is fundamentally radical, because you can make whatever world you want, and if you can make whatever world you want, the world that you make says a lot, because you could have made a different world. So what are you going to try to say with that world? And I think that's sort of like the underlying thing with a lot of like the kind of fantasy where people don't think that fantasy is political, but it's like, well, but if we build this specific world, then the conditions that we come up with in that world, it's like they are saying something. It's like, so if my fantasy world is still heavily patriarchal and so forth, then that was a choice. That was not a necessary choice, and that's politics.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Yeah, but again, we're gonna talk more in depth about that on Tuesday. So I'm trying not to spoil that conversation for all of our audience here. I want to keep them. I want to tease them a little bit.
Well, Thornall, overthinking is all I do, so probably.
Yeah, no. Hey, heroes with panthers as mounts is a pretty. That's an objectively awesome thing to have.
Well,
Personally,
that is. Well, oh my. Drizzt does have a panther, but he doesn't ride that panther.
Oh, well, that's
I think that was more like a
you don't
He-Man.
like Drizzt, then.
I think that the panther as mount was more like a He-Man thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about He-Man. Yeah, I never was into He-Man personally.
I think you're the wrong generation for that.
That's a good point. Though it is funny watching some of the old cartoons on the internet and just seeing some of the hammy voice acting.
Yeah,
With Skeletor, he's like, "Oh no!"
But that's the thing, is like, if you grew up in the 80s, then that was what you watched as a kid, as a child, as a cartoon. But like, there was not like a new He-Man thing going on when you were in the age where that kind of stuff can feel impressive. Now, obviously, you can watch it and find it interesting or funny or so forth, but it's not, not something
Or
that has
the very
left a.
iconic memes where it's He-Man singing "What's Going On." I can't think of the song.
Yeah. Um, yeah, well, I found the Skeletor Jordan Peterson thing really funny when it came out.
I've also been seeing like some recent stuff where people are putting like dialogue from My Cousin Vinny into He-Man, and it's pretty funny. I enjoyed that. It was pretty good.
Mm. All right, Britton, it's 11 here. I'm gonna cut it for tonight. We'll talk on Tuesday, I hope.
Yeah, so you should be able to do that. So yeah.
I hope so too. Unless something else
Hello,
comes up.
Austin. I'm actually a fan of your channel. Thank you for coming here. But
All right, see you guys.
take care, Ref. Rest well, my friend. All right, I think I'll stay here for a little longer. Enjoy the company of everybody here. Now it's feeling a little lonely over here. But anyway, how are you guys doing? Liam, what are you reading at the moment? Now we talk about Batman. I don't have a lot of Batman stuff to talk about. I mean, I'm hoping to read Batman and Robin Year One from Mark Waid up there soon, so that should be fun. I mean, technically, Thornell, if you want an idea of what pulp is, I mean that's kind of where a lot of superhero comics came from. Um. Thanks, mate. I found your channel through Alan at Hardback Books. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good kid. I say good kid. He can be my dad or grandfather even. I'm reading Hell on Wheels by DJ Butler and David West. Dave Butler writes with a lot of has a lot of co-writers, I've noticed. Yeah. I do want to read his Witchy War trilogy because you and Sam and a couple of other people have been really kind of going to bat for that series. Definitely would enjoy reading that because I like because the prospect of an American-based epic fantasy is very fascinating to me. And Liam, I actually watched the video you did with Dave Butler talking about his essay, talking about magic. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. I've been wanting to get that game. Is it any good? I've been seeing like commercials for it, and it looks pretty cool. Heart of Darkness is one of my favorite books. Let me see where it's at, actually. Oh, here it is. My edition has a Mike Mignola cover on it. Looks really nice. So, there you go. The Master, Mike Mignola. Very pleased with this. Now that song's going to be stuck in my head all day. So, that's nice. Thanks, He-Man. But yeah, I like your channel, Austin. I appreciate. I found you from. We were talking about mental health the other day. Someone, I think it was Austin, or not Austin. It was like Richard Reeds or something. I mean, it was some guy and he had a name. So I forget what name it is, but it was a name. Actually, I think I have him on my people to ask on my podcast list. I was, because Austin over at Eternal Reading is going to be doing is going to be reading it soon. Is this a first read for you? Indrajit is a fishman part in Butler books. Oh, wow, okay. Might want to tell Vesnerach about that because he loves non-human people. Excuse me. Let's see. I wrote it down somewhere. Thought I did anyway. I don't know. But he was like a friend of yours, and he was talking about a video of mental health you were doing the other day. Maybe it was Sam Jones. I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a great book. So yeah. Well, it was somebody, but I can't find their name at the moment because I guess I did not add them to my list of people that I'm going to invite to my podcast. So yeah, there you go. My brain's always going through. Yeah, it is a bit of a slog, especially with the innocence of it all. But it's hopefully you're appreciating it for better or for worse. I don't know. Indrajit. That's an interesting name. Great indeed. Yeah, it was. I'm very much looking forward to putting that up. It's going to take a while though cuz I have a lot of them on the backlog. I guess he meant what am I reading? Well, at the moment I am reading American Tabloid by James Elroy. While Darkness Gathers by Dr. Philip Chase. I'm probably going to finish this by tomorrow, so I have about 40 pages left. It's moved really fast, honestly. And then after that, I'm going to read Rail C from China Mieville. So that's going to be fun. And then I'm reading East of West, which is a comic book by one Jonathan Hickman. And then I'm also reading Grant Morrison's JLA run. So that's a lot of fun. It's good. It's good reading. Yeah, it's good. I think it kind of does what Salem's Lot was trying to do. What number was our hangout hour? I think it was 182, 81. Let me look. Let me see here. Tried Best Served Cold on. I think that would be pretty good because Steve Pacey's a really good audiobook narrator, but I feel we'll just ignore that. Let me see. Actually, let me check my StreamYard account. So this episode is 183, so 181. Okay, so I was about right. I do too. I have done immersion reading though, which I do like because I am still actually reading the book. If I just didn't, I can't do an audiobook, just straight audiobook because I just can't do it. My brain just is not made. I'm not that kind of animal, unfortunately. But yeah, we're almost to the 200s, which is crazy because yeah. Yeah, I just have a hard time with it. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to crap on anyone who loves doing audiobooks. I mean, there's some audiobooks I enjoyed. I read A Rage in Harlem in February. Really good book with a really great audiobook performance from Samuel L. Jackson of all people. So, I mean, yeah, I generally do immersion reading though, but yeah, generally audiobooks aren't my thing. I like to eyeball read books. Um, and I like my physical media, so I was kind of going on a rant about that to Vesnerach the other night. Wasn't like a bad rant, but it was just like, yeah, physical media. Though again, I have to clarify there's nothing wrong with liking non-physical media. Like there's nothing wrong with reading Kindles. I have thought about getting a Kindle. I don't know if I would really yes, he did. Or he said he had things he was doing tomorrow, so he had to go. That is a great book. You should read it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say like it's not reading or anything like that because I just think that's stupid. But or that type of thought process is stupid. But I do think that I do have a hard time with it. Um, yeah, I've been struggling with getting games recently because my Game Stops where I live near are gone. They're both gone now, so I'm just kind of stuck. I mean, I could probably just get them on Amazon, but that's not the same. Which, speaking of that, I am actually getting another version of Black Leopard Red Wolf soon. I'm very excited to show it to you guys because I'm receiving it as a gift from somebody, so I'm very excited. There we go. Yeah, it's funny. My friend Jason recently read Assassin's Apprentice and wasn't crazy about it. I am thinking about reading the first trilogy um of Hobbes books in 2027. So, yeah. Very cool. Mac is always busy for sure. I read I may start GGK in 2027 as well, but I haven't made up my mind on that yet. I know a lot of people really like him on BookTube specifically. Too bad your ass got sacked. Speaking of cheesy cartoons from the 80s, have any of you ever seen the like parody um GI Joe cartoons that are like the PSAs? Because I enjoy those rather thoroughly. Yeah, I'm either thinking of reading The Lions of Al Rasan first uh or either that or just say fuck it and go with Tigana because I know a lot of people really love Tigana. Even though like a lot of people complain about the like sexual stuff, which like okay, but It's always interesting, the kind of weird double standard with sex and violence. Like, if a book is super violent and intense, like that's fine, but don't let it get sexual. You know. So that's always fun. I do like Alan's review for it. He's like, this is great. Would be better if there wasn't the weird sexual stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. But, what do I know? Yeah, I've heard people say that. I guess we'll see. But yeah, either Lions or just say screw it and go to Tagana. I'm not sure yet. Maybe Song for Arbonne. I know a lot of people really like that one as well. I think that was the one John read as well. I could be wrong on that. But yeah. That one always makes me think of I always think of Sailing to Byzantium by W.B. Yeats as when I hear that title. I think that was the inspiration for that duology, wasn't it? Mac, let me know, because I'm sure if anyone knows, it's Mac. But yeah, I know GGK is one of those guys I've kind of overlooked. It's like Robin Hobb. I haven't read I haven't read K yet, even though, oh, nice. It's it's more like, oh, nice. I get to do this now. Tharnall says because it's a reference to Sailing to Byzantium. Okay, you don't need to be a smartass. And Max says yes, it is. So okay, there you go. It's a great poem, by the way. Also, where the title of No Country for Old Men came from. So the more you know. Now, of course, that Raph is gone, everyone's like, oh, this kid's an idiot. Let's leave. It's like, this kid's a dumb fuck. Let's leave. Well, maybe my grandparents are watching this, so sorry about the cursing, guys. I'm trying not to curse too much. My mom was telling me the other day my granddad watches a lot of my stuff. He's like, maybe you could chill with the cursing. I'm like, all right, I'll do my best. Blue and green. You know what's funny? I was actually talking about that last night with somebody, and yeah, I it's probably my favorite jazz composition. It's just like, in that specific version. I've listened to like Bill Evans's version where it was just him and his quartet, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't Miles Davis and John Coltrane and and Bill Evans, and I think Red Garland was the drummer. I think it was Jimmy something who was the drummer. I think it was Jimmy Smith was the dude's name. I think Red Garland was there, and they're all together and they're making this beautiful, perfect thing. And then he's trying to do his own version of this beautiful, perfect thing, and it's just not that beautiful, perfect thing. But yeah, it's great. it's yeah, just another weird flex of destiny is that Coltrane and Miles were born 3 months apart from each other, and they just go on to be some of the best who've ever done it in terms of jazz music. Let me see the quartet on Kind of Blue, because I'm sure Wikipedia will tell us. It's so atmospheric too. Like, it's, oh my god, I could just go nuts on that one track. It's, oh my god. Okay, so who's the people on there? Let's see. Okay, so Julian Adderley was there. Wynton Kelly, but he wasn't. Paul Chambers, Jimmy Cobb, that's the drummer's name. Sorry, it wasn't Red Garland. Yeah, no, you're right. It's Jimmy Cobb, who actually died not too long ago. Oh no, he died about 6 years ago, which is sad. Yeah, I like So What, but I really do think Blue and Green is the true masterpiece of that album. And it's good reason to be obsessed with Miles Davis. He did a lot. Like he really I generally like a lot of the stuff he did with like the quartets, like he did with like with Tony Williams and Herbie Hancock, or the earlier one with John Coltrane and Red Garland and Philly Joe Jones. Probably not very interesting for many of you all here, but um I like a lot of those albums. I never really could get into Bitches Brew. That one's just like it's kind of like the Invisibles comic. It's just Miles Davis throwing everything he has into the record, and you're like, what is going on here? I never could get into it. But I do like a lot of the stuff he did with the quartets, like with the second one and the first one. Those are really good tracks. A lot of people like Birth of the Cool. That's a good album, but I don't love it as much as like Kind of Blue in terms of that kind of more atmospheric kind of bop. Mm. Oh, did he? I didn't know about that. Very sad. I did. There was a recent book that was released about, I think it was Miles Davis and John Coltrane. I was thinking about picking it up, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But anyway, getting off on a sidetrack about sailing is a book, 2-book series. All right, that's good to know. Well, okay, I technically started the show, so I've already started One Piece, but yeah, it's as for the actual manga, don't hold your breath. Cause yeah, it's freaking long. It can have its own little One Pieces running around. Like it's some of these fucking mangas, man. Like there's people who bitch about um there's people who bitch about how long American comics go, but fucking manga, man, it goes on for a long, long time. Ridiculous amount of time. Diabolical amount of time. Like it's almost like the mangakas are just trolling the audience at that point with some of these how long some of these books are fucking going. Yeah, I guess that's true. The dialogue's a bit more like I guess clean, but again, I don't want to go into my thing with manga where I'm just like, what the fuck? Dimitri's like, I'm not a manga guy. You know what? That's fair. Not everyone is. I'm not really a manga guy myself, though. There are some manga I enjoy, like Monster, for instance, or Pluto, or Berserk, even, which is probably the darkest piece of sequential art I've ever read. Fun stuff like that. Damn, you're making me want to listen to Blue and Green now, Demidrek. Try Helsing. I've heard of Helsing. That does seem like something I might like. I've thought about trying like Claymore as well, and also Green Blood because I really love the art of the. I generally like if we're talking manga art, and I'll admit I'm not as well informed on manga art as I am on American comic art or something like European comic book art, but I do like the more like detailed art, like Berserk or I like Urasawa's style a lot because it's very like grounded and it feels. I don't want to say it's realistic, but it does feel like grounded. There's not a lot of the weird anime shit that I don't like. Basically, that's what interested me about it because I kind of like the Witcher type of setup where it's like people hunting monsters and stuff. Like I like that. Also, Mushishi's pretty good too. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know the manga train has its own set of problems, especially with like how hard they work. But yeah, I definitely think they treat their creators better in Japan than they do in America. Though I think it has gotten better in America slowly, but you know. Yeah, I don't read a lot of manga. Not necessarily that I'm against the. I mean, I read comics, so you know, I definitely love the medium. But yeah, I'm generally pickier because well, there's a lot of weird, goofy shit in it. Which I guess you could say there's a lot of weird, goofy shit in Western comics as well. But you know, I don't know. I can deal with it more. I guess. I'll have to add that one. But yeah, no. There are some manga that I want to try. Mac, that's funny you bring that up. I want to read Vinland Saga because it actually looks pretty good. I think if we're talking like genres of manga, I think I like seinen manga because it just seems more. I don't want to say grounded, but it does seem like something. It has stories that appeal to me more. I'll just say that, or it has setups that appeal to me more as a person, as a reader. That's probably a better way to put it. I would play blue and green right now, but I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. But yeah, I would love to read Vinland Saga. I'm actually thinking next year to continue with Lone Wolf and Cub because I did read like the first volume of that years ago and really enjoyed it. The art in Lone Wolf and Cub is really, really freaking good. Oh my god! Like I wish more manga was drawn like that. You know. Like it's a very grounded style, but you know it's you know. Nah, he just said he had things he needed to do tomorrow, so he just took off. So it's just me for right now. I might get off in a little bit myself, so we'll see. Oh, take care, Austin. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you found the channel. I will say there is this indie book that just came out recently called The Price of Fear, and the cover art in The Price of Fear is amazing. Like I don't know who the cover artist is. If someone knows what this book is and wants to let me know, I would appreciate it. But the cover art for The Price of Fear is just mind bogglingly good. I mean, this is a horrible picture of it, but here you go. Look at that. Fucking great. That is incredible. Oh, now you clear up? Okay, here's a better. It just cleared up. So there you go. Very nice. Yeah, no, I like the stories I read of them. I just haven't read all of them. I had an omnibus I started, but I just haven't really been. It's cooler today because it rained last night. But yeah, it was fucking steaming the last couple days. I walked outside. I was like, Jesus, it's flipping hot out here. Damn you. But yeah, it has been hot where I've been at the last couple days. Not today because it's a bit cooler today. But yeah. Son of a bitch, these fucking things are gonna drive me crazy until I take them out. So there we go. Oh man. But yeah, no, Price of Fear has some banging cover art, I just have to say. So what am I continuing these upcoming months? Well, I am taking a break from Malazan, but I would love to get back into Discworld because I want to record more Discworld Files episodes with Raph and Derry. I am thinking about just saying screw it and reading The Color of Magic and Light Fantastic just to get them out of the way. I will also be completing the Jade trilogy, or the Greenbone saga, as it's better known. I actually just did a review of it recently, and I thought it would do pretty well because, it's a reasonably popular book. No one watched it. I was really kind of let down, honestly. It's like, damn. Put some work into that, guys. Thought I had it good here. But yeah, those two. I'm also gonna finish the Coughlin trilogy, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna be starting Live by Night in July, so it's gonna be a busy year. It's kind of slowing down over here, so I am probably going to take off in a little bit anyway. There's a game coming out for The Expanse? I did not know this. Yeah, his covers are pretty good. I quite enjoy them. I like Philip's covers too. They look kind of like those old like Catholic, windows. I don't know what they're called, but remind me of those, which was the intention. That's kind of what he's going for. And Jack Shepard's cover for While Darkness Gathers is really nice too. I really like that. It's really quite nice. So yeah.
Off like this, like look at this light.
Stained glass. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. But yes, I do like those covers. The Discovery cover is good too. Let me think. Let me look at my self-published page here. I don't know on either of those. I did think about reading Fables this year, but there were other bunch of comics I'm going to be reading, so I had to kind of put that on the back burner. So sorry about that. But yeah. So there's your answer for that. Excuse me. Driver from Sebastian Weiss had a good cover. I don't have it because I have it digitally, but that was a good cover. But anyway, I do have a podcast in about a little more than an hour, so I'm probably going to end it here. Thank you to everyone who showed up for a while and hung out. I don't really have much else to do or say, so yeah, I'm just gonna take off for now. So thank you everyone who showed up. Next week we will probably not be having an episode because I will be on Aaron Hook's channel talking about westerns. So go to his channel, check that out. So yeah, we'll see you guys later, and until next episode. Bye bye.